Lots of talk now about his legacy and the end of an era. So what's the Express saying about it all?
Yeah, I watched his performance yesterday in the Commons, and it was a very rowdy session, very kind of lots of Labour MPs shouting, but actually a lot of the Tory front bench shouting back. Nadine Dorries was shouting at Keir Starmer, "You're boring," and it was very, very rowdy in there. But Boris Johnson, he kind of did his greatest hits. He did a long list of all his achievements. He said, "I've kept every promise I've made to voters." Lots of people will dispute that, but he said, look, I've delivered Brexit, I got us through the pandemic, I got the big calls right. And so it was certainly him kind of putting down on the record his version of how his premiership has gone. And obviously, lots of people dispute that. Sir Keir Starmer did dispute that. Mm-hmm. But again, he was struggling to kind of cut through Sir Keir in the Commons chamber. It was such a rowdy session, and Boris Johnson really does have such a commanding presence. Like, it's quite difficult for Keir Starmer to really get in there.
He doesn't have any presence.
Not for me to say.
Do you find yourself looking on the front bench, though, at some of the hopeful prime ministers and seeing if they're looking and watching Boris Johnson at the dispatch box thinking, I'm not sure if I can do this in the same sort of way?
No, I do not. I was watching Liz Truss. She was right behind him.
I was thinking that.
Yes, she says, I'll get myself in the picture. He's
I think she was thinking, I'll never be as dynamic or interesting. I mean, the number of metaphors that he used relating to Top Gun and the air show and, the thrust and this, that and the other. He was hilarious.
Yeah, but the other thing about Boris Johnson is he was also lucky, Martin. Yeah. He was lucky in so many ways. He was lucky he was up against Jeremy Corbyn, for instance, right?
And he was handed Brexit on a plate by Nigel Farage. Let's face it. That election was the Brexit election. He swept in, and we weren't even sure if he was actually a Brexit.
So just to explain this, Nigel Farage, as far as I understand it, didn't put candidates in seats that the Conservatives were contesting.
Yeah, I don't mean he was handling it in that sense. I mean that election was entirely about Brexit.
Yeah.
And get Brexit done. It's just a hugely compelling, sort of soundbite, and that's what it became. I campaigned in that election. I lost heavily in that election, and I knew we were going to lose because the Conservatives are amazing at getting power. And that will be Boris's legacy. I think he'll be quite happy outside of politics.
I totally agree with you. We'll never see the end of him. He'll be on every TV panel show.
And he'll be no longer impoverished.
He'll get a documentary about Churchill. He'll probably do a Michael Portillo on trains. Dancing on Ice. He'll be on Strictly.
Might have some more children. Who knows?
Yeah. So, it's not the end we're going to hear of him.